Very sorry. Good evening, friends. Sorry on being late. Am I audible? Am I audible? Am I audible? Yes, I am audible. Am I visible? Am I visible? Yes, I am audible and visible. Today, I'll be specific only in one subject. হ্যালো 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 1 ঘন্টা পরে কথা বলবো 1 ঘন্টা পরে কথা বলবো Hope I am audible. I'll be specific on one subject, that is from INA treasure loot to Associate Journal Limited National Herald property loot. A continuity from INA treasure loot 1946 to Associate Journal Limited National Herald property loot. A continuity by Nehru-Sonia.Rahul Bhadra dynasty. That is continuing. This dynasty is continuously pilferaging the property of the nation. A dynasty of thieves, dacoits. Yes, 6 views. Definitely, you are closely observing the case of National Herald, that is Associate Journal Limited, how the property has been looted by Sonia Rahul and their family, how that property has been looted. This looting of national property is not new by this family. This is from the days of 1946. Anamitra Bhattacharya, Otonu, please look into details in the media how the property of Associate Journal Limited and National Herald has been looted. The case was initiated by, so far I remember, in 2012, when it was the UPA government, second term UPA government, by Subramaniam Swamy in a lower court. This Nehru Gandhi family tried to dismiss this case, kill this case. They went up to the Supreme Court, but even up to Supreme Court, they ordered to continue this case and continue investigation. That was the UPA Jamana. The case was started by Subramaniam Swamy, and by this time in 2014 the NDA government has come. Investigation is going on and case in the higher courts. ED, CBI has gone into the picture to investigate. What you are seeing? A massive looting of national property. Remember, this Associated Journal Limited, it was an NGO by about 5,000 freedom fighters. This Associated Journal has got different wings in different states. They had got many mouthpieces, journals in different languages. National Herald is an English mouthpiece of that NGO to spread the message of the freedom movement. About 5,000 freedom fighters were the shareholders. You see how this Nehru-Gandhi dynasty, Sonia-Rahul, had pilfered the property by a zigzag way, manipulating papers. You are seeing, you are astonished, and now Sonia and Rahul is charge seated. Even the Supreme Court, they went up to Supreme Court. Even Supreme Court has ordered to continue the case. And ED has seized the property, a part of the property. This is the today's picture of theft of this dynasty of national property. This is a gang of thieves. India, almost all majority of the parties are family oriented parties, and Congress, after partition of India, has become a family party, Nehru Gandhi family party. There is no democracy, there is no, in Congress there is no inner democracy. Like also DMK, ADMK, all SP, BSP, TMCP, all these parties are family parties, family owned property. There is no inner democracy, and they claim they will exercise democracy in this state and country. The party which has no inner democracy, claiming to the people they will exercise democracy, they will spread democracy in the country, they will run in a democratic way. This is the tragedy, and we the people believe that. And the main purpose of politics of these families is to steal the national property. And among all these thieves, family of thieves, number one is the Nehru, Gandhi, Sonia, Rahul, VADRAS family, this family. And the corruption fountainhead of Indian politics, financial corruption fountainhead is Nehru. And corruption in the ideological plane, fountainhead is Gandhi. Nehru started the practice of stealing national property in 1946. 1946. Remember, in 1946 April, Nehru was taken by Mountbatten with the help of the government in UK. He was taken to Singapore, Malaysia, and in the outside Congress propagated that he is sent there to look after the INA soldiers. But actually what happened there? There in Singapore in 1946, four things were done very carefully. One is, whatever the INA property British seized, there was sharing of this INA property in between the British officers, Mountbatten and British officers, and Nehru. This sharing of property. At that very moment of the majority of the documents of that time is destroyed, but still then a set of papers is still available in National Archives of India, and also what we got in our case from the government of India. When we started case about this loot of INA property in Calcutta High Court, some files came from government of India. That set of papers, how in 1946 property of the INA property which was seized by the British has been handled, and still there is a document still surviving. In one document, 6 kilo of gold was transferred to the personal private account of Nehru in Indian Overseas Bank. Clear? And you know, that time who was the assistant of Nehru in this journey of Nehru to Malaysia? Yes, that Mr. Hathi, yes, Hathi, who is the son-in-law of this Nehru family. Hathi. I am giving this, yes, Hathi, who is the son-in-law of this Nehru family. Yes, that file that is in the Singapore file. That Mr. Hathi, one of the Mr. Hathi is the husband of one of the sisters of Nehru, who accompanied Nehru as his secretary. And remember, will you find any Congress resolution to empower Nehru to get this money? Is there any resolution that this Hathi, the son-in-law of Nehru family, will go with Nehru to manage, to assist him? Is there any resolution? Is there any Congress resolution officially to empower Nehru to take over this INA property in his own personal account? No. And this son-in-law, yes, document, yes, there are a bunch of documents of 1946 Singapore and Malaysia related. Here, how is there are letters, there are correspondence between Mountbatten and Nehru, and Mountbatten and Nehru and Major General Hone, who is the treasurer in charge in that area, a British officer, and also correspondence, and also the name of this son-in-law. Yes, I am giving you the date and this name of this son-in-law is Suklal Hathi, because no other persons went with him. It was the son-in-law of the family went, so that the secretly this theft can be managed. Okay. And not only the INA property in Malaysia and Singapore, there are other properties of the INA in Burma, in San province bordering Thailand, in Bangkok, in Tokyo, in Saigon. INA property was there. INA banks were there. And even in 1956, when there was Shahnawaz Khan committee, in that report also, at one area, Shahnawaz Khan himself suggested commissioning of inquiry into this mismanagement of this INA property. But Nehru never tried any inquiry into theft of this INA property. Why? Because he was secretly allowing his agents to steal that money. And all those agents, all those agents who has stolen this INA property, either the Tokyo property or the Sun province property, they were used by Nehru to spread the plane crash and death story of Subhash Chandra Netaji. And also those very persons were used to spread the marriage story, concocted marriage story. Now I am coming to the Sanwaz Khan committee report. I have told you, if you read through the Sanwaz Khan committee report, the 4th chapter, there is suggestion of inquiring into this property and to trace those properties. Nehru never tried that. Rather, he was interested to allow the theft of this property by his agents, and in return they will give propaganda to the marriage story, false marriage story, and propaganda of the false death story of Netaji. You'll be astonished to see the Sun province property, one of the thieves is Lokhe Saigal. And one of the thieves, whatever Tokyo file is, Tokyo file, yes, Tokyo file. In Tokyo at that time, in 1949, there was not embassy. Full-fledged embassy was not instituted there. Full-fledged embassy was after 56, so far I remember. It was a mission, foreign mission in Tokyo, was acting as an ambassador. Sorry, 1985. Which one 85? 85, which one 85? That I am talking of the Sanwaz Khan committee of 1940, 1956. 1956. 85 is something else. Sun province, I have told you. And you know, there was a property in Saigon that was taken by the French, then by the British. And along with that Prachandi, the associate of Netaji Subhash Chandra, in whose property that Prachandi of Saigon, who donated everything of his property to INA, and his house was the Saigon headquarter of the provisional government of Azad in Saigon, and that was the last shelter in middle of the August 1945 of Netaji. From where? From Saigon. Netaji left Saigon by submarine, and subsequently that Prachandi was arrested, and the property was stolen by first French, then by the British. Of the Tokyo property, in that mission in Tokyo, one Mr. Chettur, very senior ICS officer, those days ICS officer, he was in charge of our foreign mission in Tokyo. He wrote many letters to Government of India, and here in our Delhi Commonwealth office was being headed by Mr. Chakraborty, one senior ICS officers. Those correspondence bunch is available. Many are destroyed, but some bunches are available. Here Chettur was repeatedly requesting Government of India that, and giving warning that in Tokyo the INA property and personal property of Netaji, his whatever gifts, the golden sword, huge sword, emerald Buddha which was donated to him, all these very costly materials, Netaji's own property, all were being pilferage, stolen. And that Rammurthy brothers was, and the agents, British agents, those were stealing the property and converting into land, and also they are sending money to USA and UK. This warning was coming repeatedly to government of India. But Nehru did not listen to. Nehru at one area has written that how can he take hold of this property? In which right? In that way, 4 years elapsed. Mr. Chakraborty could not do anything. Suddenly one day, and you see, Iyer, Mr. Iyer, the favorite of Nehru, who has got appointment in the government of India and Bombay government, he was sent by Nehru very secretly to manage this property and to manage the story of plane crash. And he bypassed all protocols, all visa protocols that time, because at that time whole Japan was under the control of USA still then. And bypassing all these protocols, under the blessings of Nehru, this Iyer went to Japan to manage, to steal this property and to orchestrate the story of the plane crash. All they are written in the documents, in the correspondence between two ICS officers, one stationed in the Tokyo Foreign Office, Indian Foreign Office mission, and here our Commonwealth Office in Delhi. Chettur and Chakraborty correspondences. And suddenly one day, Nehru wrote a letter to the foreign mission that take over whatever left is there. Actually, by these 4 years, all the property has been stolen. And also there is a file which is showing a trunk of materials of Netaji and INA came from Tokyo to Delhi, and that trunk was not scrutinized by our officers in the Delhi airport, that went into the house of the Nehru, and the trunk stayed there for a long period, and God knows what happened to them. This has been disclosed by, in a discussion in Parliament in 1978, when Subramaniam Sani asked a question about this property. That file is also available. This is the way how Nehru directly has stolen the INA property and also helped the agents of him to steal this wealth for their personal purposes, and these persons has become his agents to spread the plane crash and death story of Netaji and spread the false story of the marriage. Even you will be astonished that scoundrel Iyer was once made the chairman of Netaji Research Bureau. Netaji Research Bureau, very favorite of this Shishir Bose, Krishna Bose, Sugata Bose, all these persons. Yes, namta shona shona. Yes, S.A. Awar was the minister in charge of broadcasting of the provisional government of Azad Hind. Yes. Now, therefore, let me tell you the quality of the character of this Nehru dynasty of stealing the national property is not new. This is from their very early days. Now, do you know Jeep scandal, Jeep scandal, Jeeps. Just after the Second Great War, when partition India took power, Nehru became Prime Minister. For our army, about 2000 jeeps, military jeeps, came from England. And you'll be astonished to see that on landing these jeeps on our Indian soil, those are all found old and useless. They never moved on our roads, never used for our army purpose. Old, used Second Great War time jeeps. This was supplied by the Edwina Mountbatten Company. Who is Edwina Mountbatten? The legal wife of Mountbatten and the sex partner of Nehru. One of the sex partners of Nehru is Lady Mountbatten. And there was a huge debate in the parliament, that is famous jeep scandal. And do you know, after 47, we got so-called independence in 47, transfer of power, and China got, the Communist Republic China converted to Communist China in 49. They call their independence. Even at that time, when China had no ordnance factory in 49, 50, they had no ordnance factory. But we in our India, from British days, we had at least a dozen of good ordnance factory. Even with that ordnance factories, our government of India under Nehru was not interested to produce the basic arms like guns from our ordnance factories. Nehru was interested to procure arms, the common arms, the guns from the foreign countries. Why? Because they cut money. When it is purchased through arms agents, there is cut money. And that practice continued up to Indira Gandhi. And that continued up to Rajiv Gandhi. That purchase weapons for our defense forces from outside countries, there will be cut money, and the cut money will be shared. A huge share will come to this dynasty. And you see, on the contrary, without having a single ordnance factory in China, they advanced in military by producing their own arms by newly constructed the ordnance factories. And we kept our ordnance factories silent. We are not using our ordnance factories for producing basic arms for our defense, but we are purchasing arms from outside country because there is cut money. One, that famous or infamous case, Bofors scandal. Bofors is a very quality gun made by Sweden. During the Rajiv Gandhi period, the Bofors gun was purchased for India. And then there was a scandal, huge scandal in the parliament, debated. Bofors scandal, Bofors case, which ultimately compelled the downfall of the Congress. And who first reported that there was cut money in Bofors gun deal? Do you know? It is no Indian media. It is no Indian media, no Indian politician. It was Swedish radio. Swedish radio broadcasted the news that there is a huge amount of cut money deal in this gun deal. And one of the takers of this cut money is member of the first family in India. That was the first report by the Swedish government. Then there was huge uproar in Indian media, the Bofors scandal. And for this Bofors scandal, two persons was killed. Remember, in this Bofors gun deal, one Italian arms agent was involved. Do you know this name? Remember? Kutrochi. Who is Kutrochi? So-called uncle of Sonia Gandhi. In India, where he stayed? It is the residence of the PMO, Indira Gandhi. When Indira Gandhi was living, it is Kutrochi who was residing there. He is the weapons deal agent. In the world market, weapons are sold in high prices and in high cut money is there. Kutrochi is that arms dealer. So is Italian. Sonia family claims he is the uncle of Sonia. Whenever he is Delhi, he was residing in the PMO Indira Gandhi. Indira Gandhi didn't like that. Anyway, and his stay in that family continued up to Rajiv Gandhi, when Rajiv Gandhi was Prime Minister. He is the key agent. And you see, one night when Palme, he was the Prime Minister of Sweden, was returning home after seeing a cinema. He was so dead. Remember, arms dealer is so strong, because arms dealer know if the persons are killed, the case will be buried. And here you see in India, Rajiv Gandhi was killed. Yes. Behind Rajiv Gandhi killing, there are many forces, many characters. This Bofors deal. Also Westland. Yes, Westland. Helicopter deal. Remember, and only after this India government came to power, they have concentrated to use their manpower, their brains into our ordnance factories to produce weapons for our own defense forces. And today in some sectors we have become the arms seller, arm producer. We can now in a position to export good quality arms. And do you know, I'll tell you, do you know the family of Sonia Maino? Do you know the village of where Sonia Maino was born? Urbasano, a village in Italy. His family business is they have got a piece of land where grapes are cultivated, angur chash. And his father was once soldier of the Italian force during Second Great War, was kept imprisoned in Russia. And this Urbasano village is now famous after Sonia Gandhi marrying our prince Rajiv Gandhi. This Urbasano village became famous. That the shops of this village is famous because the Europeans come to that village to purchase smuggled goods, which is smuggled from India. Every day you are seeing in the newspaper headlines that from which temple a statue of a idol of a gods or goddesses, metal, very costly, very old statue idol has been stolen. Where they are going? They are going to the world market, Europe, America, going out. Urbashano village is a good place where Europeans comes to collect, to buy these costly idols which are smuggled out from India. Number two, from 2005 to 2014, I have seen myself in the airports of India a list of persons who will not be scrutinized, whose entry and exit will not be scrutinized. I think possibly still now you can see in some place the names are there, and the names are not the personal name. The topmost president of this country, the persons who can go in and go out in the airport without being checked, without scrutiny. President of this country, vice president, chief justice of this country, prime minister of this country, such persons. And at the bottom, possibly it was 13th position, in a name was there. Name is Bhadra. There is this Bhadra. Bhadra could pass out and pass in any Indian airport without being checked. And you know this Bhadra? This Bhadra is an international smuggler. His place is Ludhiana of Punjab. He's a Catholic Christian, married to this daughter of this Sonia Maino. He's an international smuggler. You have seen recently, 1 month back, in West India, one film star lady, beautiful lady, was caught smuggling gold from the Arab land. And on record it is seen almost he was frequenting every alternate day. And he has got high connections of IAS, ICS officers and ministers. And it was not being checked in the airport. You have seen the incidents in Calcutta airport. One daughter-in-law of our first family in Bengal, political, mighty family, ruling this West Bengal, was caught in Calcutta airport. And he was caught by the airport police. And you have seen how the rowdies and the Bengal police rushed into the airport to catch him out forcefully. You know, the smugglers behave in this way. Smugglers through airports pass in and out with high-ranking connections. And you will be astonished, those who can remember the pictures of the airport in the period 2005 to 2014. This Robert Bhadra's name was at the bottom of the list by name, and others were by position. President, Prime Minister, all these things, they by position, they are not checked in the airport for entry or exit. But this Robert Bhadra has got the opportunity of leaving this country or entering into without being checked. An international smuggler. And let me stop here. Who are the leaders of our country, and how some families are controlling parties who are controlling our country? Let me stop here. নোবেল, রবি ঠাকুরের নোবেল তো আর পাওয়া যাবে না। বেনেটি মুসোলিনির ডান হাত ছিলেন সোনিয়া গান্ধীর বাবা। this this his her father was kept imprisoned in a temporary prison cell near Moscow, as Sonia Maino told. Because when we went to Moscow, our JMCI team, to inquire into the mystery of Netaji Subhash Chandra, we saw just 2 weeks back Sonia Gandhi rushed to Moscow in 2000, it was 2005. We inquired why he went. He never went. He told that I went to see the place where my father was imprisoned. Actually, she went to request the Russian government to cover up the papers of Netaji mystery. Bofors and Westland 30 helicopters from UK. Bofors is not from UK. Bofors from Sweden. Yes. Bofors from Sweden. His Prime Minister Pamle was killed, and these weapon agents thought by killing this Swedish Prime Minister and Indian Rajiv, they can bury the Bofors case, and they are to a large extent successful. আয়ার নামটা শোনা শোনা, আয়ার, এস এ আয়ার, এস সাউথ ইন্ডিয়ান, who was a foreign magazine correspondent from before the Second Great War in the Far East Asia, and he was picked up by Netaji to work for him for propaganda purpose. He also made the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting in the provisional government of Azad Hind. Bofors. Yes. Bofors, Westland, Sanchita. Sir, it is very painful and heartbreaking history for myself, and Mr. Sri Bose family was also the part of it. Yes. Bas, a good number of this Bose family members is agents of Nehru to spread the death story and also the marriage story, because they have got the money. Abhijit Bhattacharya, namaskar. Let me, Namitra, let me stop here. Jeep scandal, weapons, and let me stop here. Thank you. Good night.